Most simply put, torts are recompense for civil wrongs. The criminal law, of course, penalizes individuals and corporations for a wide array of misdoings. Tort law is the civil side. What tort does is provide compensation when either fault or strict liability is established, but also in addition to compensation, it is meant to, and to some extent does, perform a regulatory function through the deterrence that occurs when an individual or a corporation is found to be liable in tort. I have just finished writing an article on responsibility for harms involving automated vehicles. And essentially what I suggest is that the tort system, which has worked well for us and continues to work well in a wide variety of areas, is not the best way of approaching responsibility in this new era of automated vehicles. In part, that's because there's a huge shift in perspective. By definition, drivers who are now responsible for probably 90% of the fatalities and serious injuries. Once the vehicle is automated, it's not drivers. Presumably there'll be a reduced number of injuries and accidents, but they'll still be there. But they will be due to the vehicle rather than the driver of the vehicle. So products liability, which now accounts for a relatively limited number of the claims, most are against drivers and their insurers, will account for virtually all of the claims. So what do we do with that? My proposal in this article is that we adopt a legislative no-fault scheme for this new emerging era. That is, that the issues of products liability, of whether there is a design defect in the product, will be, if they're complicated now, they will be infinitely more complicated as cars become more and more automated. Not just more and more automated, but through machine learning, there'll be continuous updating of the safety features of the automobile to try to filter those through our existing tort system, products liability system, and rely on juries to make determinations of whether the product was defective or not, seems to me to be and would be an unfortunate way to proceed. Instead, what we propose is that a no-fault scheme, which would be a scheme that allowed recovery to injury victims for any injury that arose out of the use of the motor vehicle. So that if the injury arose out of the use of a motor vehicle, then the victim would recover. And the way deterrence would be built into that system is by having the manufacturers of the vehicles be the ones that finance the auto no-fault system. So to try to use the current tort law to keep track of what constitutes a defect is a task that is too great for the tort system to deal with in a really effective way.